So the Open Championships are hard. Okay, maybe not that hard, but the Open Championships do provide a very challenging environment that most people, when they go out there, find extremely difficult. Now, the USBCs used to have this kickoff show where they would break down the pattern, give you guys some tips, and just kind of give players the ins and outs of the Open Championships. However, in 2015, the USBC decided to not have this kickoff show anymore, but people are still competing in the tournament. They still have to prepare. So I wanted to help fill the void and give you guys some tips, some strategies on how to best attack the Open Championships. Now, the USBCs, and formerly known as the ABCs, have historically always been extremely difficult. And remember, you only have 9 games in the tournament, and you can't re-enter. So you have to make those 9 games count. In the 2017 Open Championships, there were over 10,000 bowlers that competed in the event, which means there are over 90,000 games bowled. And out of all those games, there are only 10 300 games, which gave you a 0.01% chance of rolling a 300 in any given game during the 2017 Open Championships. So my goal for this video is to just help minimize all the mistakes that can possibly be made out at the Open Championship so you guys can have the best experience you can when competing at the tournament. So how do you prepare? How do you practice? How do you pick what balls to throw? Listen guys, since 2017 the USBC has decided to not release the pattern to the general public, but don't worry, because trend is your friend in this situation. Here are the last 4 years of the team patterns at the Open Championships. You can see here 3 of the last 4 years have been 38 feet, with the 4th being 43 feet. And this has been pretty consistent with the singles and doubles patterns as well. So we can take an educated guess and say that the USBC is gonna put a pattern out somewhere in that 38 to 42 foot range. And I think it's safe to say that the USBC isn't gonna surprise us with a 35 foot pattern or a 50 foot pattern based on how consistent they've been with the patterns over the last 4 or 5 years. So now that we have a pretty educated guess on what the oil patterns are going to be, now we can build an arsenal to combat that 38 to 42 foot range of oil patterns. So the first spot that I want to fill in my arsenal is a strong, dull, asymmetric ball. And for me, the best option that I have to fill that spot right now is the Rip Solid. She'll pin down, and what I'm looking for out of this ball is just to give me a strong, smooth reaction. So I'll hit this ball with 1,000 grit before practice, throw it outside of 5 to burn up a spot to hopefully give me a little miss room, because we definitely all need a little bit of miss room. And then I'll move into the track area with this ball, so around 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and what I'm looking for is just to give me a strong motion in the front and middle part of the lane to hopefully smooth out that down lane reaction. And if all goes as planned, I'll be using this ball for the first game, game and a half, maybe even 2 games. Alright, so say the Rip Solid looked great for the first 2 games, but now the lanes are really transitioning left and the Rip Solid just starts to burn up too much and lose too much energy. Now I want to go to something that's cleaner. It's going to store more energy down lane. For me, the ball I'll go to right after the ripped is the Vertic Pearl. I got to drill pin down. It should maintain that smooth motion, and this ball is going to allow me to move my feet left and really give the ball away from the head pin when those lanes start to break down. Alright, so that's one plan to attack the lanes, and hopefully that works. Hopefully I can go the Rip, then the Vertic Pearl, but we've all bowled many games in our life, and we know that bowling doesn't exactly go as planned. So it is our job to have other options to go to in case that main plan fails, or sometimes even that secondary plan fails. So in case those asymmetric balls are responding too much to the friction, or maybe they're just too much ball overall, they're hooking way too much, I want to have 2 symmetrical pieces that are stable and smooth, one stronger, one weaker, that I can go to for a secondary option. So my strong symmetrical ball is going to be the Spoiler. This one's still pin up. I got a pretty big weight hole in it, and I'm gonna hit this ball with about a 2000 grit Abalone pad, so it's gonna have a good amount of surface on it, but the main points about this part of your arsenal is this ball has to be stable and smooth, and we don't want this ball being as responsive to the friction as that dull asymmetric ball was. My weaker symmetrical ball is gonna be the Eruption Pro. I have it drilled pin up. It's a little lower pin. I got a weight hole in it again, and what I'm looking for out of this weaker symmetrical ball is versatility. What I like about this Eruption Pro is it comes shiny, and you can use it when you need a shiny ball that's going to be clean in the fronts. However, what I like to do with this ball is hit it with like a 3000 pad, knock a little bit of that shine off, and I can use it for the earlier stages of the block. So I'm looking for versatility out of this ball. I want a ball that I can do either one with. So when you're looking to fill those symmetrical pieces, you want stable, smooth, and versatility out of those options. So the lanes are going to break down. So when that time comes, I want to have a ball that's just for that. So for me, this ball is going to be symmetrical and a little on the shinier side. So I'm going to fill that gap with the Ultra Heat. There's the logo, there's the layout pinned down, and this ball fills that gap perfectly for me. It's clean through the front part of the lane, but it still reads the mid lane and tumbles. I think a big mistake people make is when they switch to cleaner balls is that they start missing the mid lane. So you get that reaction where you miss right, it never hooks. Then you try to square it up a little bit and move your eyes left, and it hooks too much. So you need to make sure the ball that you're gonna use for later in the block still reads the mid lane, and for me, the Ultra Heat does that perfectly. All right, so the last spot in my bag that I am going to bring to nationals is urethane. And for me, it's gonna be the Purple Hammer. You can't even see this logo. This ball's got a lot of use on it. But there's a lot of different opinions about urethane these days, but I think, especially in today's game, which it's kind of weird saying that because it's an old technology, but these urethane balls are so good. When they start matching up, it is amazing the scores you can shoot with them when other people are trying to control reactive balls. The reason the urethane balls are so good is that you know what you're going to get out of them. They're controllable, they don't do too much down lane, and they're meant to keep you out of trouble. So guys, 190 2-0 games are great games at the USBCs, and using urethane balls is a great way to help reduce those low scores that are so easy to shoot. Alright, so I may be a little biased with the Purple Hammer because it did help me out a little bit last year at Nationals. Yeah, I wasn't exactly happy right there. Alright, so now we have an educated guess on what the pattern's gonna be. Our arsenal is ready to go. Now, one of the first things you need to do once you get to the USBCs is bowl the Bowler's Journal. Now, this is a side tournament ran at the USBCs, but they put out the singles and doubles pattern that's gonna be used at the Open Championships. So, it's a great warm-up, but it's not gospel by any means. It seems like the Bowler's Journal always plays a little bit different than the Open Championships, but it's a great way to get your feet wet, get some of those nerves out when you get there, and it's just a great warm-up for the Open Championships. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this information, and remember, like with the pattern, this is an educated guess, so if the USBC does decide to like put out some crazy 32-foot or 55-foot pattern, I'll be the first one to come on here and say that I was completely wrong. But in conclusion, I want to note that guys, the USBCs are gonna, oh, we gotta get focused here. The USBCs are gonna be difficult, so make sure you practice for this event. Go to your local bowling center, get some games in, and just make sure you're at the top of your game before going out to the Open Championships. Alright, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. I've been talking for way too long. See you guys. Oh, I almost forgot. Make sure you guys go check out Jeff Riggle's 11thframe.com website. I'm going to put a link to it below in the description. He does a great job of writing these articles about the Open Championships and just keeping everyone updated of what's going on with the tournament. So make sure you guys click on the link in the description, check it out, and now I'm done.